BostonConnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate.
And hello to all my South Shore neighbors. You are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. My name is Melissa Wallace, and I'm joined live and in studio by my co-host tonight, Sue Bollinger.
Hello.
Hello. Sue is a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate, and she was so kind to join me today. I asked her this morning. I said, Sue, any chance you want to join me tonight? And of course she said yes.
Of course.
You helped me out for a couple weeks last month or the month before. I don't even know what day it is.
Yeah.
We replayed a show on Saturday, so I haven't been on the show for a week, and I'm like, am I going to remember how to do this?
You're all out of order.
I'm all out of order, yeah. And I think the week before that, we had replayed a show on a Tuesday night, too. So I'm like sort of all out of it. So, but I promise I'll be good for you. So, yes, you are joining me tonight, and I appreciate that. You've been on the show before, but why don't you reintroduce yourself to all of our listeners in case they didn't catch one of those shows?
Well, absolutely. My name is Sue Bollinger, and I am a full-time realtor, and I've been selling real estate for over 20 years full-time.
Wow.
I'm just stopping at the 20-year mark.
That's what Sharon says now. She's
over
like,
20 years.
She's like, I've been saying 20 plus years from now that like I'm going to start to say 30 plus years at some point.
I'm just going to say 20 plus even when I'm at the 30 plus mark, because then it really, I feel like I'm really getting old if I start. Anyways, but yeah, I've been doing this for a long time. I've been with Boston Connect Real Estate since pretty close to the beginning. Like I think it was like 1 year in.
Yeah.
So.
You worked with Sharon at another company before she opened Boston Connect. So that's how you met Sharon. But.
Yes, and we became friends, and her kids babysat mine. And,
and now what Taya is going to be,
she's going to be a junior in high school.
She's going to be a junior in
16,
high school.
getting her license soon. And
oh, gosh. Don't we all feel old?
Yeah, it flies by.
It does fly by. And all your boys, they've graduated, right? College,
so I have 3 that graduated college.
Yeah.
1 that got his master's and is actually teaching.
I know, you have like the smartest kids.
Well, I'm telling you, they're smarter than me. But so it flies by. But, back in the day when Sharon and I first met, they were all fairly little.
Yeah.
They were, know, and, Casey would come over and right when she first decided to babysit, I can remember she was like 14 and Sharon was like, does anybody know anybody who's looking for a babysitter? My daughter's going to try to do this now. And I'm like,
so she babysat the boys?
Not really the boys.
Just Taya?
They were young enough.
Yeah.
That like they were young enough that she could have babysat them. Not Kenzie, but Casey could have.
Yeah.
And she may have watched them a couple of times, but mostly Taya. Yeah. She was the best babysitter.
Oh gosh, I'm sure Casey feels old if she's listening to this. Casey feels old that Taya's going to be a junior in high school, because I know we do sitting here.
Yeah.
But we are live on WATD. You can call in or you can text the studio 781-837-4900. I believe we have Larry waiting for your call or text, right?
Yes, you do.
We do. Our Tuesday producer, Larry.
Hi, Larry.
We also are live on Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. So be sure to follow Boston Connect Real Estate, McNamara Horton Group, Sharon Costa McNamara. We're live all over there. So if you want to interact with us, you can leave us a comment, or again, you can call or text the studio 781-837-4900.
Excellent.
Okay, so we get a lot of our topics for our radio show, whether it's a Tuesday night show or a Saturday morning show, just from everyday real estate life.
Yes.
And when I asked you to join me tonight, you immediately, well, first you said, do you have a topic? And then you continued on with, I have a topic.
Which is always good, right?
Which is always good. The less thinking I have to do, the better the show, I think.
Yes.
But you came up with the topic for tonight, which we are talking about the importance of home inspections, because that is something that is going on in your business right now. So again, this is how we come up with a lot of our shows. We typically have discussions here at the office on Tuesdays, or we have an office meeting, or we just always interacting with each other and just sort of bouncing ideas off of each other.
Yes.
And this was something that you are going through with one of your clients, and I'm sure you go through with a lot of your clients who choose to do home inspections.
Yes.
But why don't you sort of start off with why you wanted to talk about the importance of home inspections tonight?
So I'm working with a first-time buyer who's rather young. Obviously never owned his own home, and so he is, and I'm not going to say any names, but I'm not going to say where.
Yes, and I will preface that. So we're going to be talking about a situation that happened yesterday with Sue's first-time home buyer who had a home inspection. So we're not going to talk about specific property, address, and we're not going to give any names. So this is a general synopsis of what is going on.
And I think it's really, it's really important to understand why you need to do it. Like, I never recommend somebody not do a home inspection unless they're a contractor and they really know what they're doing and what they're looking at. Or, maybe they're a realtor / contractor who's been in the business for a very long time and can recognize things. And so, I've been working with this buyer for a bit, and, there's been a couple of times where he's wanted to waive a home inspection. And I'm always like, I don't know. And so for this one, I have to say, I go to 95% of the showings with my buyers whenever possible.
Or open houses. With your buyers.
With my buyers. And for this particular case, and we've written a few offers, so we've gone through the process. And this is a crazy market. Everybody knows it's a crazy market.
Right.
People are waiving home inspections left and right. And to be competitive in any market, you have to have the ability to waive a home inspection. Almost, you should have the ability, but I don't recommend it.
Yeah.
So in any case, we've written a bunch of offers, and this poor guy, just one offer after another didn't get accepted. And so he went to this open house. I was not able to go because I was doing an open house at the same time. So
and you'll say that they weren't allowing private showings.
They weren't allowing private
so
showings.
So it was the open
opportunity.
house or no opportunity to
Exactly.
see it.
Exactly. And I'm like, you have to see it because this is a perfect opportunity. It was exactly what he was looking for. So, and I said, take some video while you're there so I can just look at it with you and we'll talk about, what it might need. So he did the video and everything. And so the house did not have a basement. And, but he was able to, get video of a few of the things. And in the video, it looked fine. So
looks can be deceiving.
Yeah. And we're thinking we've got all these strategies for negotiating the price and everything. And we're going to go over asking. And then in the end, we decided, no, we'll just, and then he gets an accepted offer.
Did they have multiple offers?
They had, so they told me they had multiple offers. Here's the thing. And then they actually, during negotiations, they came back and said, would your buyer be willing to waive the home inspection or do it for informational purposes only? Which shocks me, by the way, because I would never, as a seller's agent,
you would never ask somebody that.
Because there's too much liability involved in that. Think about that. That's a horrible thing to recommend to your seller to say.
Yeah.
I would, I know sellers want that, but that's not, that's definitely not something I would ask.
Way too much liability there.
Way too much liability. So in any case, we came back and said, how about we'll do it for informational purposes only up to, unless it needs more than $5,000 worth of repairs.
Which, for informational purposes only, if you don't like the information that comes out of the home inspection, it's the same thing.
It kind of is the same thing. But we basically said it has to be more than $5,000 worth of items that need to be repaired.
Right.
So we gave that little caveat. So we're not going to nickel and dime.
Right. Yeah.
So we get to the property and I noticed the floors are like...
Immediately you walk in and you're like, uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, no. The one property I don't get to go see with him.
Right.
And he wouldn't know. He's thinking it's an old house. It's built in the 1900s. Lots of old houses have
warped floors.
Or whatever. And it can be very normal. It doesn't mean there's anything structurally wrong.
Right.
As long as you have the proper supports and whatever.
Right.
So, and we've been in a few of those. But this one, there was no basement. And it was,
Yeah, so what's
it was
going
tough.
on there?
So, but we ended up doing the home inspection, and there was so much wrong, like all of the supports to the house underneath. The poor home inspector. By the way, here's another thing. You need to get a fantastic home inspector.
Yeah.
So the one that I recommend, I don't know if I could say him or whatever, but the one person that works with me often.
You can say who you work
Can
with.
I say?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
So I would have to say John Boyd from Boyd Home Inspections. If John's listening, he's amazing. He actually it's a crawl space under the house.
Okay.
And he crawled under the crawl space. Like there was literally no room. I would be claustrophobic going under there, but he crawls under. Yeah. And it was 90 something degrees out and hot and humid.
Yeah, yesterday
Can you
was
imagine?
Tough.
And here's this guy in his long sleeve shirt.
Oh my gosh.
Crawling under the house.
He's probably used to it though.
Well, I don't know how you can. He's sweating, and but I've been.
He's doing his job. Some people
job.
just, they get up and they do their job every day.
And the thing is some home inspectors won't do that. They'll just be like, couldn't access the underneath the house, so it might need A, B, C, and D. Yeah. But he won't do that. He doesn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
Like
Why would you?
Right. So he.
I would never. Yeah. There's been many times that I know that Mary Horton has gone, behind the home inspector or in front of the home inspector and crawled underneath a house through a crawl space. But
I would not do that.
I would never. No, so I'm just putting it out there.
I rely on the home inspector to do that, and this home inspector is amazing. So he crawls under, and he does his inspection, and it had. Like the supports were all those temporary lally columns barely holding up the house. And, they were all rotting.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It was bad.
And then he went in the attic and there was knob and tube wiring live knob and tube wiring all throughout the attic. So anyways, but you don't know that until you actually do a home inspection. Mm-hmm. And so I thought this is a really good opportunity to just talk about, why it's so important. Because especially for a first time buyer, you don't know what you don't know.
You really don't.
How do you know what to look for if you've never bought a house, if you've never owned a home before? How do you know that, the slopey floors could mean there's a structural issue? It's, hard to know this stuff.
It is hard to know those stuff. So, and I will say, was this the first offer that they got accepted?
No, it wasn't the first offer.
Okay.
There was another one. Actually, no, it was the first offer. It got accepted. Now that I think about it, we almost had one accepted before, but there was a glitch. But anyways, that's a long story.
There was a glitch in the Matrix.
That's a different show.
That's another topic for a different show.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll have to come back in a couple weeks because I will be asking you. Okay, this was their first offer that they got accepted, and I'm sure that it's exciting. I mean, I went through that process too. My first offer got really excited, and I remember, we had a little prosecco, and we're toasting, oh yeah, and then we had the home inspection. I was like, yeah, we have to put the prosecco back because
right, exactly.
we're not moving forward here. But had you been at the showing with him, how do you think it would have gone differently?
Well, I think that I would have suggested that we try to look under the house at least, because there was a hatch that you could pull up and sort of you could take a little video with a flashlight and take a look around. Right. Or do something like that, even though my home inspector crawled under.
Yeah. Can we say that again? He crawled under. He came out with
the house. All the cobwebs and the crap.
No, thank you.
And there was a broken sewer pipe and all this. So poor guy.
All things that you need to know.
Yes, absolutely.
so thank God for him and going under there. But yeah, back to what could have gone differently had you been at there.
Had I been at the first showing, I think I would have said this is a red flag. Here's a red flag. These floors are, this isn't an old house type of, because 20 plus years you get to know, not that I'm a home inspector and I don't claim to be one, but 20 plus years of showing houses and going to home inspections, you get to know,
you get to know what you're looking for. Yeah. And that's the difference. So I asked you that question because you've been in the business for over 20 years. I mean, could you even count how many buyers you've helped at a home inspection? Probably
Definitely not.
not.
And I wouldn't want to.
But you know what to look for.
Yes. Yeah.
your client, I'm sure I know he's a smart guy.
Yeah.
I've met him.
Yeah.
But if you don't know something, you don't know it.
Yeah.
And you might not know how to ask it or know to ask what it is.
Exactly.
So, I don't doubt that he was super excited about the house. So,
he was excited.
Of course, he was
sure.
excited about getting an offer accepted. But
Yeah.
it was sort of the things that he didn't know maybe to look for.
Right.
And you walked in and you were like, red flag, red flag,
exactly.
red flag.
Right away, I could see the red. And, I walked into the hallway and I could, there was wallpaper on all the walls. And I walked into the hallway and there was horsehair plaster in the hallway.
Yeah.
But the rest of the house is wallpapered, and I'm like, I wonder what's under that wallpaper.
Yeah, what's under there?
Can you take the wallpaper down? I mean, will the plaster come down with it?
I know.
What I mean? So
well, these are questions that, of course, you would know,
Yes.
being 20 plus years in the business.
Exactly.
And, now he has gone through a home inspection.
Yeah.
He has been educated on the process
Yes.
of what to look for.
Absolutely.
I did say earlier in the show that I had an accepted offer on a property that I did not end up purchasing sort of early on in my journey of looking for a house.
Right.
I was really excited. Of course, I had Mary, Sam, Sharon, and Mark all at my home inspection.
Yep. Best of the best.
The best of the best.
Guided me through the process.
Guided me through. We're all going through the entire house. And, I had gone to my showing. I think I saw the property twice before. I'd gone to one of my showings by myself, and then another one, Mary had come with me. And, Mary was great at being like, I want to be excited for you, but I do want to point these things out.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is going to come up in home inspection. And she just goes through a house and she's like, this is going to come up. This is going to come up. And she's like, oh, but this is really great. So she's got a great balance
Yeah.
to her.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I needed the honesty because even though I'm in the business, going through the house, I was looking at it as a buyer.
Yeah. You
so
don't
it was
see
different.
those things.
I still had my shiny, it's nice and shiny and not new, but new to me. It all looks great. But
and here's the part too, that is important. Like, how did you feel after you went through that home inspection and found all the things wrong? Like that.
I felt defeated. So how I did put in my offer that I wanted a home inspection. It was my right as a buyer. You have a right to put in your offer to have a home inspection. You can do other inspections. It doesn't, you can do pest inspections and radon and lead paint and stuff. But for this show, we're going to be talking about home inspections. But, I put in that I wanted a home inspection, and I wanted it more for like a learning experience, because I had never owned a home before. I really had never lived in a house before. And I wanted to learn where the water shut off was,
Absolutely.
where, what kind of heat it has, just how to take care of it.
Yeah.
And along the way, during the home inspection, I learned a lot more than I thought that I would.
Right.
So after the home inspection, I did stay outside for a little while with, my whole crew, and I just... They could see that I was a little defeated, and I just was like, I don't know what to do. Do I move forward? Do I not move forward? And ultimately, I did not move forward because there was a lot of work that had been done to the house that was done by the homeowner.
Yes.
And there was pride of ownership. However, it was not done correctly.
Right.
So, a lot of the work had been done over the time that they had owned the home, 10 to 15 years. And it just wasn't, there were no permits. There was no, professionalism, I guess, behind it.
Yeah.
And that was what really sort of, I was like, if this is how they've been taking care of it, I just don't know if I want to take on that responsibility of pretty much having to replace it all on my own.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a lot of, especially now, things are going to be very costly. If you repairing things, the price today compared to 6 to 7 years ago is completely different. So everything costs so much more.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important that you know the all-in cost when you're buying a house. And so, it's important to know even just the basics, like you said, knowing, where the hot water shut off is, or what happens if the water tank goes, how much time should when should you replace the water tank, the
Right.
hot water tank?
Yeah.
Like, you need to know these things.
Yeah, you really do need to know all these things. But Jasmine Glasgow, who she was my loan officer, she is from Maritime Mortgage. She's listening and she's watching us on Facebook.
Hi,
she says,
Jasmine.
"Count me out to crawling underneath the house." She said, "Count me out." Yeah, count me out too, Jasmine.
I totally get it.
The two of us would just be on the front lawn, like, nope, just shaking our heads, like, no,
Yeah,
absolutely
not
not.
fun at all.
Absolutely not. But yeah, so get back to your buyer, sort of some of the things that could have gone differently,
Yeah. So honestly, if I had known, obviously, we may not have put the offer in to begin with. Like I might have even talked him out of it. But, I don't ever want to talk someone out of it either. Like I would give like warnings, like, okay, well, I've seen this, but you can check with your professional and confirm.
I don't think that you would be talking him out of anything. You're advising him.
Advising him,
that
exactly.
is what you have been hired to do. That's your
Yeah.
role in his journey to purchasing a home. And
Right.
you're advising him.
I don't want to
hey,
ruin his dream, but at the
Right.
same time, like, hey, this is not what your goal is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes you have to come back down to reality.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
I am going to give my boyfriend a shout out too. So my boyfriend Ethan's listening. So
Hi,
I sent him the link. I
Ethan.
was like, here, listen. So hi,
Are you
Ethan.
making dinner?
I think I'm making dinner when I get home, tacos. Something easy, so because I'm not going to get home until after 7. But yeah.
All right.
So
Well,
hi.
he
Ethan.
could make tacos
Yeah.
too.
You hear that? You can make them too.
Hi, Ethan.
But yeah, so there's just with advising your client. I mean, you're always going to say, "Hey, you have the right to a home inspection," and it's up to them to say, "No, I want to waive it," or "I don't." There were out of all the offers that I put in, there were some that I waived and some that I didn't.
Yeah.
With my house in particular, I've been honest, I waived my home inspection because Mark McNamara had done work on my house. I was very confident in his work. There's just things that I just felt comfortable going with the offer that I presented.
Surely when Mark does work on a house, it's done right.
Yeah.
Like, he did my kitchen when I redid my kitchen, and all of the everything was done so meticulously.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can't, I'll never want anybody else to do any of my plumbing ever again.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, we're digressing a little bit, but somebody called the other day and I appreciated their call. I answered the phone and they owned a plumbing company and they said that they see our signs everywhere and they wanted to give us a call and give their information, their contact information in case any of our clients needed any work. I said, you know what? I appreciate your call. However, my broker's husband owns McNamara Plumbing.
Yes.
And he was like, oh, you're in great hands.
Yeah, exactly.
Knew who Mark was. So it was
Exactly.
funny. We had a laugh about it, but good for him. And good for you guys. I'm seeing all of your signs all around and thought that he could, give us a buzz and give his contact information. But,
Yeah. Sorry.
we're
Loyal to Mark.
Yeah, we're loyal to Mark. And I'm very lucky that Mark lives around the corner from me. So if I ever need anything,
Yes.
and he lives in the same town as you because you live in Pembroke. So,
Yes, I do. Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So getting back to it, Jasmine says you had me at broken sewer.
Oh my gosh. It wasn't completely leaking. We don't think we had it. It was like a bent sewer pipe. I mean, it was just a mess. It was a mess.
If you're watching us on Facebook, she just put up her hands like it was a mess.
A mess.
Again, you can call or text us at WATD at the studio. Larry is waiting by for your call or text 781-837-4900. We are live on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube and everything. So you can leave a comment there. That's how I'm interacting with Jasmine. So I'm waving. Excellent. Hi, everybody. And my boyfriend says hello, by the way. So my friend Stephanie is watching too. Broken sewer is a big, she swore, mess.
Yeah.
If you can guess.
Yes. Fill in the blank.
Yeah. My friend Stephanie, we went to Florida Southern together. She lives in Florida with her husband and 2 kids, and they are buying a second home in Georgia. So yeah, they have an accepted offer on a home in Georgia. So congratulations to Stephanie and her husband Scott.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, but they had a home inspection. Well, and I asked her. That was the first thing I asked her. I go, "Are you having a home inspection?"
Yeah, you need a home inspection. It's so important.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I was very happy for my friend, but then like the realtor hat got put on, and I was like, "Are you having a home inspection?" And they did. So I wonder how hers went. So Stephanie, let me know how it went, and I can say it on air. But
yeah.
Yeah,
so we didn't even talk about what a home inspection is and the definition. So I'm just looking at our notes. I'm like, we didn't even mention it. So
okay, we'll go back to the basics.
Just going back to
40 minutes into the show.
I know. Talking about my client. But just for those who don't know what a home inspection is you negotiate that in. Usually you can have a 10-day in Massachusetts anyways. In most areas of Massachusetts. Some areas are like 7.
Some people like to tighten that timeline up.
They do. But, you get a visual examination of the physical structure and the systems of the house.
Yeah.
From the roof to the foundation. That's what we have written. So, obviously it's important because when you're buying a house, you want to know everything there is to know about the house. Mm-hmm. You want to know all of the faults. Even if you're buying it anyways. Right. I would even recommend it, even after you've signed the purchase and sale, if you truly want to do for informational purposes only. Mm-hmm. Do a home inspection just so you, like you said, learn about where the hot water shut off is or the water shut off of the house or.
So how would you feel as a listing agent if you received an offer on your listing and it said for informational purposes only? How do you interpret that? And how do you tell your client, the seller, that?
I tell them it means nothing.
Yeah, exactly. My point from 40 minutes ago.
It really does mean nothing. So I put a dollar amount on it is what I do. If somebody asks me to waive it or whatever, I just put a dollar amount and I talk with my client. Okay, well, how much in repairs are you willing to do?
Right.
Like, let's realistically think about this.
Because they have to budget for that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know that this is a multifamily, so I don't know if they were planning on living there as well. But, it's an investment in your future, regardless if you're going to live there or not. That's an investment.
It's an investment, yeah. And he would have had to put a lot of money into it to fix the structure and the wiring. And that was just the start. We cut the home inspection short.
Oh, really?
He didn't want to finish because it was
how many
so
times
much.
have you done that?
I would say it's been done a few times.
Really?
I would say once every 2 or 3 years it happens. Where somebody's just like, oh, I'm done.
Someone's like, yeah, I'm good.
I can't.
No thanks.
It's a waste of time to keep going.
Yeah.
So
that's too bad.
Yeah. So it didn't make any sense. It was 1,000 degrees out and there was no AC.
Too bad you guys didn't do it before he had to go through the crawl space. But
I know.
At least you saw that there was a broken pipe.
Exactly.
And, the structure was just about to fall down on your home inspector.
Exactly.
So it was a good thing he got out. Oh my gosh. That's going to make me laugh for a few days.
Yeah.
Susan Solis says, hi girls. Hi Susan.
Sue. Susan. I should say Susan.
Are you gonna have a new listing with her? Is that what I heard or no?
Yes, but it's a little ways away.
Okay,
Yeah,
just making sure. I didn't want you to. Well, I mean, you could have promoted it, but I was asking because I was like, did I imagine that?
Yeah.
Did I imagine the two Sues at our office teaming up?
It's the two Sues. We're
it's gonna have to be Sue and Susan. Like the two, it's Sue or
Sue
Susan.
and Susan.
Which one?
And
Hi, can I
be
talk
called
to Sue?
either. So she gets to pick.
Yeah. Okay. Did you hear that?
She's
I
the
call
lead
her
on the
Susan.
listing anyway. So
okay. So Susan, you get to pick.
The
Do you
power
want
of the
Sue or
Sues.
Susan? The power of the Sues. Sue squared.
Yes.
Okay. Back to what we were talking about.
Yes.
So yes, the definition. You have the right to have a home inspection. You also have the right to waive it.
Yes.
And as a real estate advisor, we always advise to have a home inspection or to do as if whatever you please.
Yeah.
I don't think it shouldn't happen where an agent would say, you have to.
Right.
You don't have to do anything. You also don't have to work with that person.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. The decision is always buyers in the end. The buyer decide, we advise and we can give, years of experience and this has happened this time, this happened another time. And, we really strongly suggest this, but I would never tell a buyer they should or shouldn't do something.
Right.
You know.
I do want to talk a little bit about, after a home inspection. So my friend Stephanie, I said that she, is purchasing a home in Georgia. It went well, just a porch roof add-on that wasn't done right. So we got compensation for that from the asking price.
Yeah.
So that's a negotiation that would happen after the home inspection. So why don't you explain a little bit, okay, you went through the home inspection, now what?
Right. So first of all, people should never use the home inspection necessarily for negotiation. I've had some buyers in the past say, oh, let's just do it. We'll get it down during the home inspection. It's like, no, that's not what the purpose of a home inspection is. The home inspection is truly to find out, how the systems of the house work and whether or not they're working correctly. But if you get to a point where, you find a lot of things wrong with the house, that maybe it's structural or maybe it's, and
you still want to move forward.
You still love the house. You want to move forward. Maybe they'll fix a few things. It's worthwhile to ask the seller, rather than backing out, it's worthwhile to see what the seller will do, because truthfully, the seller's going to have to address those issues either way, whether or not that you walk away.
Right. Especially if it's a disclosable item. So
absolutely.
If it's mold or if it's radon in the basement, those are all things that need to be
disclosable.
Yeah. They need to be disclosed. So
once you do a home inspection and for example, that there's knob and tube wiring in the attic, you now have to disclose that to future buyers. By the way,
it would be interesting if you go back into the listing in a couple of days and see if it's updated.
Yeah.
Now that you know.
She should be updating the listing to say, there's some structural issues here, and she can disclose it in any way she wants. You might go through the house, decide whether or not you like it, and then before you get an accepted offer, you should at least be notified that the house has structural issues and knob and tube wiring and possibly a sewer issue.
Yeah, and possibly, you think?
Vent pipe.
The vent pipe, yeah.
But yeah, so, that's a really important piece, that the seller's agent now has to disclose those items. So, it's always beneficial for the two parties to come to an agreement if they're able.
Right.
It's beneficial for both. The buyer gets the items fixed and they get the house that they thought they were purchasing, and the seller, still is selling their house, and they don't have to put it back on the market.
Right. But like I said, anything that comes up that it is a disclosable item, so pretty much everything that comes up needs to be disclosed. Yes. So that's why I would be curious. I'm always curious. I want to make sure that everybody's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm sure you, because what you're on a board.
Yes, I'm on,
Or you're part of, what are you a part of?
I'm on the school committee in Pembroke.
No, not that.
Board?
No, with real estate.
Oh, sorry, I'm kind
Yeah, she's on the school committee.
I am. I'm like, what board am I on?
Hello?
So, sorry. Yeah, no, I'm on the professional standards committee for the Massachusetts Association of Realtors, which is more relevant for the show.
Yes, it is more relevant, even though we were talking about your kids in the beginning of the show and how old they are now. Jeez.
I have it in my brain for some reason.
Yeah, no, let's have real estate in your brain. But you are on professional standards.
Yes.
So you are making sure that the realtors in our industry are doing what they're supposed to be doing.
I am, and I'm like, I don't monitor what other people do. The only time it comes to me is like if somebody is complaining about like an issue. So if I walked into a listing and somebody was doing something egregious that was unethical, I would report them, but I wouldn't be on the board to oversee it.
You couldn't.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I'd have to let somebody else do it.
But I'd be like, it was me.
Yeah, I reported it.
I have to excuse myself.
I'd have to go on the other end and explain why I reported it instead.
Yeah.
But, I do take it seriously. We have to make sure that people are doing things ethically in this business.
Well, that's why we have agents like you in the positions that they are in, is because you do want everybody to go through their business ethically and practice ethically. And that's why I would be curious. Again, I'm very curious to see if she updates it.
Yeah.
And I might even look myself.
I might look too.
You might look now.
I might look too. But the thing is like, she might decide, just to tell people after the fact rather than put it in her listing, because people may not want to go look at the listing. But they will ask, like, why is this house back on the market? Because I do have buyers do that often. So like, I wonder why they put this house back on the market? What went wrong at the home inspection? And at that point, she has to disclose it.
Okay, so I'm your buyer. I've gone through the home inspection, and there are some things that have come up. It's gone over that number that you gave for the informational purposes only. So maybe it's instead of 5,000, it's 10 or 15,000.
Yeah.
Now what? How do you advise me moving forward? I still want the house. What should I do?
So we get a contractor to come and give us a price on what it's going to cost to fix these things. You know, get a contractor to come and look at the structural supports and, you know, how much is that going to cost to replace all of the lally columns underneath the house just to shore it up so that the house isn't falling in? How much is it going to cost to replace that sewer pipe? And what will it cost to rewire the entire house that has not been tubed?
Yeah.
You know, well, it's probably not the entire house, but a good portion of the house.
But what happens if you
know?
get those quotes and as a buyer, you can't afford that plus the price that you put in your offer? So what now? Do you negotiate?
You can negotiate. If you really want the house, you can say to the seller, if you fix these items, we'll move forward with proof that it was fixed with a contractor who's licensed. Again, you know, Mark McNamara or somebody that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that's done with a licensed professional, but you can ask the seller to fix the items, or you can ask the seller to, you know, give a discount on the price to cover the cost. If you're a first-time buyer, that sometimes becomes difficult because, you know, you're using your savings to buy the house.
Right.
So you don't really have the, you know, the liquid cash to fix these items. So, but you can ask the seller for, you know, a seller credit. Maybe it's a seller credit towards
Closing
the
costs,
or-
prepaids.
Yep. So you can get, you know, a good portion back that way, and that will free up your closing cost money that you had saved to put towards the repairs.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's it, but it depends on how much is needed.
Right.
Really.
I want to get back to your client being educated through this process and just knowing that that he has learned so much even in that short time, even though you guys stopped the home inspection early.
Oh, yeah.
It's still educational.
It really
and,
is, yeah.
you know, it's what to look for. You know, the next house that you go in, this is what we're looking for. I'm looking to make sure that there's no horsehair.
Yeah, horsehair plaster on the walls.
Horsehair plaster. The floors aren't warped.
Right.
You know, can you access the basement? Can you access the attic?
Right.
You know, where are all of the tubes, the everything, the electrical panel, how to determine if it's 100 amps or more, anything. These are all things that you learn by being in a house.
Yes.
And back to my point about having a home inspection on the first house that I got an accepted offer on is I really used it as an educational tool for me because I've been here 8 years, really 10 years in the business, but, you know, and I've gone to home inspections, not as many as you, not as many as Sharon, you know, but I've gone there and you sort of just are there and you're educating and stuff. But when you're there for yourself, you almost pay attention a little bit more.
It's true. Yeah.
And it was more educational for me because I was like, I really want to know where the water shut off. I really want to know where this is. I really want to know how to use the heating system. You know, how old's the roof? Like all these things. And I'm like, oh yeah, I really need to know this information.
It's really good experience. And I think he'll go home and be able to, now he knows what to look for in the house he lives in. You know, he doesn't own it, but like he'll understand how it works because he's gotten lots of experience just from the home inspection. You know, but, you know, being in the business this long, you do go to a lot of home inspections and you end up knowing a lot more than, you know, you would expect.
You are
a lot of book knowledge. I could never fix any of it, but I have the book knowledge.
I could not, I could identify that there's an issue, but I could never fix it.
Exactly.
But I would be willing to learn.
Oh, yeah.
That's the thing. I would be willing to learn. Again, this is why I had a home inspection for information, so I can, you know, learn all these things. But, I mean, even being in my house, I learned something new about my house every day, and I closed in November.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes I walk into a room and I'm like, oh, I kind of forgot this room existed. Mostly downstairs. I have a raised ranch, so I'm like, I go into a room, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Oh, I own this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I have a room down here.
Yeah, I have a room down here. I own this. And now that my boyfriend has moved in, it's our space now. We're sharing this space. So
you might actually use the rooms.
I'm actually using the rooms now.
Not just the cat.
No, both cats. Did I tell you I got a second cat?
Yeah, I think you did tell me that. Yes.
Yeah, Benny. He's getting so much better. I think I think a couple of weeks ago when you were on, I said,
Yes,
"Oh yeah,
totally.
he's quite a menace."
Yeah.
But he's definitely getting better. He was he didn't know love before.
Oh,
us.
and he knows now.
And he knows love
now.
now.
He gets it. He's got,
Yeah. But yes, it is very much living in the home and using the space that we have. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, 8 months. What are we? July, 8 months, 8 or 9 months later, I'm still learning something new about my house.
Yeah.
But I'm continuously saving because of those things. What happens if the water heater goes? What happens if, the roof needs to be replaced or the septic system goes? Like, these are all things that as a first-time home buyer or any home buyer has to think about.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
they eventually come up. It's important.
We only have about 5 minutes left in the show.
Wow.
Is there anything else that you wanted to touch upon before I give you an opportunity to give your contact information out to everybody?
Yeah, so we should also say sellers can do a pre-inspection too.
Yes, we've done a show on this before. So Sharon, and I think you go on Clubhouse too.
Yeah.
She has some friends on Clubhouse who are from other states, and they do pre-home inspections all the time.
Yeah, it's a very common thing.
Yeah, so we had, I believe, 3 women join us one show through Zoom, because they're all over the country, and just talk to them about, what would be the benefit of asking our sellers to do a pre-home inspection. They were like, we do it all the time. It's so common. It would be uncommon if they didn't do it. So we were fascinated by it.
Yeah.
So you can go to talkrealestateroundtable.com, or you can go to your podcast app and look up Talk Real Estate Roundtable and look for that show.
Yeah.
But, why don't you explain a little bit about what a pre-home inspection is?
Yeah, you can hire that same home inspector to come to your house before you list, and they're going to give you some, tips like, for example, your water heater, which sometimes, most brands only last for like 10 years. I'm told they're warranted for 10 years. And guess what? After 10 years, that's when they start to go. So, so like, your water heater might be on its last legs, and that's going to be flagged. Or, like you need some more ventilation in your attic, and you could easily do this by removing this, insulation over here.
Right.
Or, like just like little things like that. And, or, oh my gosh, your fan in your bathroom is venting to your attic instead of venting outside, which is a very common one.
Well, what's common is that sometimes you really don't know what's going on in your own home.
Yeah, people don't know.
You don't know unless you're constantly checking in on those things. And Sharon has said this a million times on the show that, she had a crack all the way up her chimney. The whole entire side. And she never saw it because she never goes on that side of her house.
Yeah, why would she even notice that?
Why would she even notice that? And then one day, I think the dog ran over there or something. It was chasing a bunny. And then all of a sudden she looked up and she goes, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And she's like, Mark, did you notice that there's a huge crack up the chimney? And he was like, no. Like, when was the last time we were over here?
Right.
You
wouldn't even think to check that. You
wouldn't even think. So
it's a good thing she saw it.
Take a walk around your house.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so that's really important. Is you want to make sure you're, that way you have these, up front. Okay, well, I can fix these things ahead, or maybe I can expect that. Maybe I just disclose up front, like I already know about this, and I'm pricing it according to the condition of the house.
Right. Because that's also a factor too. So, if you're purchasing a home or you're going to look at a home that's being sold as is in the condition that it is, there's probably not a whole lot of negotiation after there, especially if it's, an estate sale or, somebody has passed away and there's just nobody to take care of it. The price is the price, or negotiate or whatever. But, sometimes repairs can't be made.
Right.
There's no one there to do it.
Exactly.
But so that's something that you should be aware of and looking for when you're looking at homes is this an as-is property?
Right.
Especially if the buyer is responsible for the septic system.
Absolutely. But
yeah,
very important.
Very important. 2 minutes left. I'm going to give you the opportunity to give your contact information out, and then we'll do final thoughts.
Okay. So my name is Sue Bollinger, or Bollinger. You can say it either way, but I say it both ways. My phone number is 508-317-5729, and you can reach me at the office at or email me at sbollinger@bostonconnect.com.
Mm-hmm. Give your phone number one more time.
508-317-5729.
All Perfect. Well, thank you so much. Final thoughts? I know we have our little outro going, but final
Get
thoughts.
a home inspection if you're able.
If you learned anything from the show, it's get a home inspection.
Yes.
Importance of home inspections.
Yes.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening, and thank you for joining us tonight. And thank you, Sue, for joining me.
Thank
We
you for
appreciate it.
having me.
I'll be back live on Saturday at 8 a.m. with Sharon McNamara, the broker owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, and my sidekick here. Thanks so much for listening, everyone. Bye.
Bye.